Faith is one of the most important aspects in the lives of many Americans. Around 77% of Americans belong to some sort of religious affiliation, while the other 23% have no affiliation at all. The framers of the Constitution understood the importance of religious faith to Americans. That's why, in the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights, they try to protect the religious freedoms of all Americans. The First Amendment pertaining to religion has two clauses: the Free Exercise Clause, which says that we can practice any religion we choose, and the Establishment Clause, which says that Congress cannot establish any national religion.
Of course, the First Amendment pertaining to religion is important to theists, but is just as important to atheists or people who do not believe in any type of God. These people not only see the Free Exercise Clause as freedom of religion, but as freedom from religion as well. Atheists view the Establishment Clause in a similar vein. To them, the Establishment Clause also ensures that they will never be forced to follow a certain religion.
It says it wants neutrality between religion and non-religion. It's talking about belief in God and non-belief in God. And I think what we have to do is separate, first of all, the words are respecting an establishment of religion. When James Madison first introduced it, he introduced it as any religion, any federal religion, any national religion. And that was expanded, right? They made the words very broad. No law respecting an establishment of religion. James Madison vetoed, the father of our Constitution, in 1811, vetoed a bill which just would incorporate a church in the District of Columbia.
Many atheists feel that the United States is a Judeo-Christian nation due to the inclusion of "In God We Trust" on our currency and "One Nation Under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance. The feeling is that the inclusion of these phrases is a violation of the Establishment Clause, as it establishes the United States as a Christian nation. However, according to the case of Arano v. United States, the inclusion of "In God We Trust" has nothing to do with an establishment of religion. Instead, it is used as a ceremonial character and bears no true resemblance to a governmental sponsorship of a religious exercise.
Because it's already been held, it goes back even 1970. There's very specific court rulings that "In God We Trust" is a national motto. It is not any kind of violation of the First Amendment of religion. Specifically, it's patriotic or ceremonial character, no theological or ritual.
Many theists see the case of Aronow versus the United States as an example of an attack on the freedom of religion. They believe that by trying to remove religious mentions from public displays is a case of infringing on the freedom of religion.
Recently in the news, there has been a debate on the extent of religious freedom. In Colorado, a Christian man, Jack Phillips, refused to make a cake for a homosexual couple's wedding because he said it was against his religious beliefs. This sparked controversy on both sides on what religious freedom really meant. One side argued that it was completely in Mr. Phillips' right to refuse service, while the other side argued that Phillips was using his religious beliefs to discriminate against a certain group. The court ruled against Mr. Phillips, saying that no one was forcing him to change his beliefs, and that his beliefs give him no right to discriminate on other people.
Is that forbidding discrimination in this case doesn't implicate free expression at all. And the reasoning is this: when a baker provides a cake for a wedding as part of his commercial activities, no one really thinks that the wedding cake expresses the baker's own views. If anything, the cake expresses the customer's views. So really what they're saying is, in this context, it's not right to think of Jack Phillips as a speaker at all, and therefore his expression really isn't being forced in this case.
In fact, the law in Colorado says that businesses cannot refuse service due to factors such as sex, race, marital status, or sexual orientation. Though the court acknowledged that freedom of religion is important, they determined that no person's beliefs gives them the right to discriminate against someone else. This debate shows that although freedom of religion exists, it cannot be used to justify unlawful or unjust action.
The examples of Arano v. United States and Masterpiece Cake Shop vs. Colorado Civil Rights Commission highlight the importance of freedom of religion. Arano v. United States shows that there is no established religion in the United States, despite some controversial wordage, and Masterpiece vs. Colorado shows that religious people cannot use their beliefs to discriminate against any group. This therefore protects the rights of the irreligious and people of different religions.
Another key aspect of religious freedom is that all religions are seen equally under the law of the Constitution. The true nature of this constitutional idea came into question this past year, when the Trump administration planned to ban people from 8 different countries from traveling to the United States due to the potential threats to Americans that these countries can present. 6 of these countries listed in the ban have a majority Muslim population.
President Donald Trump issued an executive order that strikes at the very heart of our democracy. I wish that I were exaggerating. I wish that this were some sort of a game. But the ban that imposes religious tests and keeps refugees and immigrants from entering our country is illegal. It is unconstitutional, it is immoral, and it must be overturned.
The travel ban brought on some questioning on if whether or not it was constitutional to ban people from the United States based on their religious preferences. Due to the fact that majority of the countries listed in the travel ban had a majority Muslim population, some felt that President Trump was singling out Muslims, and a perceived anti-Islamic rhetoric during his campaign helps the claim of singling out a certain group.
And we put out a statement a little while ago, and these people are going crazy. They won't report it properly. Shall I read you the statement? Donald J. Trump is calling for, now listen, you got to listen to this one because this is pretty heavy stuff, and it's common sense, and we have to do it. Remember the poll numbers, 25%, 51%. Remember the poll numbers. Okay, so remember this. So listen. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Additionally, President Trump said he would prioritize Christian refugees seeking asylum in the United States.
They've been horribly treated. Do you know, if you were a Christian in Syria, it was impossible, at least very, very tough to get into the United States. If you were a Muslim, you could come in. But if you were a Christian, it was almost impossible. And the reason that was so unfair is that everybody was persecuted, in all fairness, but they were chopping off the heads of everybody, but more so the Christians. And I thought it was very, very unfair. So we are going to help them.
To the travel ban critics, this showed that the Trump administration was prioritizing one religious group over another and therefore discriminating against the Muslim refugees.
The verdict on the travel ban has switched back and forth ever since it was put into place. However, as of right now, the travel ban is in effect.
Overall, religion is one of the most important issues in American society, and there always seems to be debates over what constitutes freedom of religion. Although the Constitution is not perfect and there are some contradictions to it in our institutions, the Constitution does a solid job in ensuring that the rights of religious people and non-religious people are protected and that everyone is treated fairly.